Good evening, good evening. This is Coach Paula, your life transitions coach. It is Sunday, April the 28th, 2024, and I am here for our 7 minute Sunday 7 and 7, where I come to you with a topic for 7 minutes on 7 p.m. For us to just share and discuss, and hopefully we will thread this topic throughout the week. I'm so glad to have you here. And I'll just kind of rehash a little bit what we've talked about and introduce the focus for today. So, for the month of April, we've been talking about diamonds. Diamond is the gemstone for the month of April, and you are all April diamonds, whether you were born in the month of April or not. Every day, 365, you're diamonds. And we've been talking about 4 attributes of diamonds: the cut, the color, the clarity, and the carat. And so tonight's focus is carat. But just to give a brief recap, we've talked about the cut of you as a diamond. That is who you are. That's your nature, how you were created. We've talked about the color, which is the what. It's what you bring. It's the nurture. It's what you bring to circumstances and situations. Yes, you were created a certain way, but then you also show up a way that may or may not be consistent with who and what you've been created to be. Then we talked about clarity. We talked about knowing your purpose, and that's your why. That is something that is discovered, right? And something that you lean into as you learn your life's purpose. And then lastly, we're going to talk about carat. And carat is an attribute that really is talking about not your who, not your what, not your why, but it's the how. It's the mechanism. How do you do what you do? Good evening, Brandon. How do you do what you do? So, carat weight of that carat, and it's not even necessarily about the weight. Okay, it's about the brilliance within it. It's about just how good it really is, and how it's not about the size, it's about the weight. So you can have a really big diamond that doesn't have great clarity, so it has a huge carat, but the weight of it is not substantial. And so we want to be weighty. We might not be large in stature, but we should be weighty in depth. We should have a how about us that reflects intentionality. Like, we should not be, a wandering generality, but we should have some specificity to us and things that we are working to achieve. And so it's important for you to show up. Oh, God. As I think my phone just died. It's important for you to show up as your best self. And so that is what we want to talk about this week. We want to address your carat. We want to make sure that you are being intentional about who you are, that you are getting to know yourself. Your self-awareness is key, because it's important for you to grow. We don't grow accidentally. We grow intentionally. So your intentionality to come towards your growth factor is so important, so that you are growing with intentionality. How are you showing up? How are you transforming yourself? What are you doing differently? As you get to know yourself, then you can grow yourself, because you can't grow yourself if you don't know yourself, right? You need to have a contingent of people that you trust to be able to speak into your life, to help you to see your blind spots, right? And so it's so important to know who you are. I love to give the analogy of the thermometer, the thermostat, and the temperature, because I think that always resonates so well. And I'll try to see if I can share it quickly here. When you think about a room, the temperature is just, it's a number: 68 degrees, 72 degrees. It's a number that's fixed, and it reflects the amount of heat or coolant within the given room. And so it's not influential. It doesn't have authority. It's just a number, right? But then you have the thermostat that is reading the temperature. So it's aware of the room, and it's putting out information so that you know that it's 68 degrees, or so that you know that it's 72 degrees. And then lastly, you have the thermostat. If it's a thermostat like anything in my home, the thermostat here is auto-regulating, it's programmable. And so when you have that thermostat, it's taking those two elements of the temperature and the thermometer, and it's monitoring and controlling that. Okay. And so as a result, you may set on the thermostat that you want it to keep the room at 68 degrees. Well, if it drops below 68 degrees, if the temperature drops below 68 degrees, thermometer depicts that, then the thermostat is going to chime in some heat to warm the room up to 68 degrees. Conversely, if it's 70 degrees and the thermostat is set to 68 degrees, the temperature is read at 70 degrees by the thermometer, but the thermostat says, no, we need to cool this down. And it's going to put on the air so that it can drop the temperature from 70 to 68. And so that's important because that whole description of temperature, thermometer, and thermostat gets to the how. It gets to the process. It gets to the mechanism of how we are showing up. At the root, that is your carat. And so it's important. Some rooms you'll go into and you may simply be the temperature because you're learning, you're gleaning. Other rooms you may go into and you may be that thermostat where you're registering what the temperature is and you may give out some information. And then in other rooms, you are monitoring and controlling. You're the thermostat and you are in full control and influence as to what is happening. It's important for us to be able to know that's your carat. That's the weight of who and what you are. And so it's important to have that self-awareness of yourself, but also in the environments in which you serve and live and operate so that you'll know how to show up. So I hope in these 7 minutes I have given you something to think about. I hope I have shifted your energy and awakened your potential. As a life transitions coach, I always want to make sure that we are looking at our life in through the lens of the transitions that we're making. We are all transitioning something in our relationships, in our personal development, in our lives, in our careers. There's always some level of transition that we are experiencing. And so it's important that you make sure you understand your color, your cut, your clarity, and most importantly, your carat. So I hope this lesson today and all the lessons this month have given you something to think about. I'll be back on Wednesday and on Friday to see how you're making out. Thanks so much for being on this journey with me.